The broke dreamer. We've all seen them, and maybe we've even been them. In every cramped studio apartment, every indie coffee shop with mismatched furniture, you'll find the broke dreamer. This is the person whose bank account is flirting with zero, sometimes even dipping into the red, but whose imagination is absolutely overflowing. They spend their last 20 bucks on a vintage leather journal, or a new lens for their camera, or a ticket to a networking event they can't really afford. They are surviving on instant ramen and sheer, unfiltered optimism. And here's the kicker. They don't see this as failure. They see it as a necessary chapter in their origin story. They are convinced that one day, their art, their app, or their startup will be the next big thing. The visual is a cluttered desk with a flickering lamp, a half-empty coffee mug, a stack of unpaid bills tucked under a sketch pad, and a smartphone showing a rejected loan application. They are the raw fuel of innovation, even if they're running on fumes and bad credit. The grinder. Now, if the dreamer is the heart, the grinder is the muscle. This person has moved past fantasy and is doing the dirty work. Their bank account bounces between $0 and a few $100s, and they're working 2, sometimes 3 jobs. They're driving for rideshare apps at 3 a.m., selling old clothes on resale platforms and chugging cheap energy drinks like it's a survival strategy. They don't have time to be inspired. They have rent due and a car payment looming. This level is pure grit. They are trading time for money at an exhausting rate, but they are also learning the value of a dollar. They aren't worrying about stock portfolios or crypto. They're worrying about whether they can afford to fix that flat tire. The visual is a dashboard glowing in the dark, a phone with multiple delivery app notifications, a pocket full of crumpled receipts, and a calendar completely filled with shifts. They are the unsung backbone of the economy, and honestly, they're too tired to care about your hustle culture memes. The promoter. We're climbing the ladder now. The promoter has managed to save or earn maybe $5,000 to $10,000, but more importantly, they look like they're already a millionaire. This is the person who gets their first decent paycheck and immediately buys a designer belt, a leased German sedan, and starts buying rounds for strangers at the bar. They are the living embodiment of fake it till you make it. They understand that perception is currency. If you want to play with the big players, you have to dress like them and talk like them. So they invest heavily in their image. The right watch, the right restaurant reservations, the right Instagram feed. Their credit card is smoking, and their savings are thin, but their network is growing fast. The visual is a valet ticket, a luxury watch on a wrist, a phone buzzing with LinkedIn connection requests, and a sleek business card holder. They are walking a tightrope. If they land that one big deal, they leapfrog everyone. If they don't, they crash hard. The pragmatist. If the promoter spends money to look rich, the pragmatist is actively trying to look poor, and they're proud of it. They have a steady salary, maybe $60,000 to $80,000 a year, and they are hoarding cash like a dragon guarding its gold. They drive a beat-up Corolla with 200,000 miles, clip coupons religiously, and bring homemade lunch in a Tupperware container every single day. Their bank account sits comfortably between $20,000 and $50,000. But here's the catch. They are terrified of spending. They could afford the fancy coffee, but they won't, because that extra $4 a day could compound into $1 million in 40 years. They aren't wrong, but they are missing the bigger picture. You can't budget your way to true wealth. At some point, you need leverage. The visual is a detailed spreadsheet with color-coded cells, a calculator, a stack of cash hidden in a sock drawer, and a fridge full of generic brand food. Safe, responsible, but painfully slow. The investor. The investor has crossed the $100,000 mark, and suddenly money isn't just for spending or saving, it's fuel for more money. This person has stopped trading time for cash. They are trading cash for assets. They're buying rental properties, dabbling in index funds, throwing a few grand into a friend's startup, and maybe even messing around with crypto. They are taking calculated risks, but they can afford to lose because they have a cushion. This is the most psychologically intense level. They are constantly checking charts, reading earnings reports, and second-guessing their moves. But when it works, it snowballs. The visual is a laptop with multiple browser tabs, stock tickers, real estate listings, a business bank account dashboard, and a half-empty bottle of antacids. They aren't millionaires yet, but they can smell it. The compounding machine is finally starting to spin. The quiet millionaire. And finally, the $1 million milestone. But here's the twist. No one knows it. This isn't the flashy guy in the Porsche. This is your neighbor who mows his own lawn, wears cargo shorts, and drives a 5-year-old Honda. The quiet millionaire has crossed the net worth threshold through decades of compounding, smart investments, and living well below their means. They own their house outright, have zero debt, and could walk away from their job tomorrow without a second thought. They don't need validation or status symbols. Their money works harder than they do, generating passive income that covers all their expenses. They are completely, unshakably free. The visual is a modest suburban house with a well-kept garden, a library full of books, a simple cup of tea on the porch, and a laptop showing a retirement account with a comma in the right place. They understood that the game was never about looking rich. It was about being free. So, where are you right now? The dreamer, the grinder, the promoter, the pragmatist, the investor, or already heading toward the quiet freedom of the millionaire? The path isn't linear. We bounce between these levels, sometimes backwards. But the goal is never just the number. It's the peace of mind that comes with it. If this breakdown sparked something in you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications.